Hey guys, Dazzled Magic here with the rest of the, almost called them spoilers, leaked/stolen cards that were live streamed by the absolute top IQ person who, from what I'm hearing, actually had his friend steal these from a printing facility that they worked at, and then probably live streamed from their own IP address. Have fun with that one. Anyway, first up we got Rilsa Royale, Kingpin, 5-cost blue, black legendary creature, human rogue, death touch, and when it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. So initiative is kind of like the Monarch. It's just a status that gets passed around, and it's kind of like an emblem. Like, it can't be interacted with directly, but it's like a thing signifying a status, not like a permanent. And whenever you attack, target attacking creature gains death touch until end of turn. If you've completed a dungeon, that creature also gets something and gains first strike and menace until probably end of turn. Next up, some weird elf name that I can't pronounce, Vlakith's Champion. And this is another legendary creature, Gith Warrior, 3/3 for 3 in white, and if you would put one or more counters on a creature or planeswalker you control, or on yourself, put that many +1 of each of those kinds of counters on that permanent or player instead. Very good card. And then choose a background, which once again, your background goes in your command zone. It's the, 101st card or whatever. And it's a legendary enchantment. Most of them cost 2. Watch my other videos if you want more details. But I bet one will come up in this list. So very, very good card. Next up, Raised by Giants. Somebody done climbed that beanstalk. So it's a 6-cost green legendary enchantment background. Ooh, higher one, okay. Commander creatures you own have base power and toughness 10/10. Remember, commander damage is a thing. And other giants in addition to their other types. Or are giants. I can read. That card is like actually insane. I love it. So next up, Wizards of Thay. It's a 4-cost blue 3/3 human wizard with Myriad. So that does exist in the game already. It is whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of this creature that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. So in multiplayer, you can split this. Otherwise, it just stays 1 if it's 1-on-1, which actually scales pretty well. I've said it before and I will stand by it. Magic the Gathering is absolutely not built for multiplayer. There are certain things where you're like, well, now this card's 3 times as powerful, and then another one that's, oh, well, now it's like 1/3 as powerful because I can only target one person, which is kind of the point. You know, you add all this, like, negotiating and politicking and crazy chaos, but then they went and added, like, for each opponent, do this, you know, in the Commander product. So they kind of ruined that / fixed it, and I'm not sure which one's better. It kind of depends if you want, like, fair and balanced gameplay or just absolute overpowered chaos that everybody just has fun and doesn't care who wins. Take a guess which one I lean towards. Myriad, it just kind of scales your deck to do either, so it's like, it's kind of neat. But anyway, this also says, instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, which, you know, okay, in Commander is just appropriately powered. In Standard, we might have a little issue there. You may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash. Yeah, that's pretty good, but the problem is it's the kind of thing you would build a whole deck around, but in 99+1, I guess I'll say, even though obviously you're going to have a background. Well, you kind of can't, so I don't know how good this will actually be in Commander. Next up, it's Ball. Oh yes, Lord of Murder. So he is a 2+ black + red + green 5-cost 4/4 legendary creature god. And as long as your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, Ball Lord of Murder has Indestructible. That's kind of neat. The whole, let's try to turn it around a last-ditch effort because something bad just happened or I'm losing the game badly. I love that because it makes the game more exciting, more down to the wire, and it only affects you if you're losing. It doesn't affect you if you're winning. They need to do this times like 100 in the next standard set. In fact, they should just have a keyword called turnaround or like underdog or something. So it also says, whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter, something, and goad it. So, I mean, pretty good, but you could just throw any other indestructible card in your deck. So I don't know if you would really make this your commander, but it's all right. Next up, Illithid Harvester. Oh boy. It's a 5-cost blue 4/4 with adventure. Yeah, that's back. Creature horror. I hate these things. Squid faces piss me off. So it has plant tadpoles, blue +X, and its sorcery speed. Tap X target creatures they don't untap during their controller's next untap steps. And if you don't know how adventure works, you may exile this card, then cast it for its creature side later from exile. And then it has Ceramorphosis? Is that what it is? And when Illithid Harvester enters the battlefield, turn any number of target tapped non-token creatures face down. They're 2/2 horror creatures. Ooh, that's spicy. Next up, Master Chef. Oh, they're doing a tie-in with, what do they call that? Universes Beyond. They're doing a cooking show. Fantastic. Anyway, it's a 3-cost green legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have this creature enters the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it, and other creatures you control enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on them. They probably just could have said all creatures enter the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter on it. I guess they split it up that way because it's a commander-specific card with a commander-specific, typing background. But instead of for rules reasons, they did it for, oh yes, flavor reasons. Yeah, I went there. I don't apologize for my puns. You're just going to have to deal with it. Next up, Lulu Loyal Hollyphant. That's awfully close to one of the cheat codes in Age of Mythology right there. Have I told you lately that I love Woo? Anyway, it's a 4-cost white legendary creature, Elephant Angel. Really? That took me by surprise. I didn't look too close at these. Flying, and at the beginning of your end step, if a permanent you control left the battlefield this turn, put a 1/1 counter on each tapped creature you control and then untap them. And then choose a background. Yeah, these are pretty nutty, but it's like, is it worth weakening your deck to the point where you're running some mediocre creatures from just this set just to get the choose a background, choose a background, choose a background thing? When the backgrounds aren't really that good? And really, if you're gonna go background, and then just keep pulling like the same one individual one from your command zone, I haven't really seen this too heavily yet, but aren't you maybe at least suggesting that you're trying to win the same way repetitively, which is like a huge no-no in the commander world? At least not in like commander duels or competitive commander or whatever. If it's just friendly, have fun commander, you do not win with the same card combination every game. People will kick you out of the group so damn quick with your stupid little glass cannon fetch combo, just garbage deck. The whole point of 99+1 Singleton is having it play slightly differently every time. You get value, you get variety. It's not just, oh, here's the same strategy, the same strategy, the same strategy, which is what you tend to get even in standard constructed. So this whole choose a background thing, boy, I don't like it. And also these cards that say choose a background are really weak. So I don't know how well this is going to be received. But if people do the D&D standard set and then this D&D set, I think you can get something fairly synergistic. I mean, I think everybody would just play Dungeons because that's the most competitive one. But we haven't seen this full set yet. So I don't know. It would at least be like an interesting theme, something to do. It would be kind of like a cube. And this might actually be like really decent to draft. Who knows? So next up, we got a background here. It's a legendary enchantment, uncommon 2-cost red background, and it's Street Urchin. Oh boy, I've always wanted to play Commander while simultaneously pretending to be Oliver Twist. So Commander creatures you own have pay 1, sacrifice another creature or an artifact. This creature deals 1 damage to any target. That is just not good. Even if it had lifelink, it's just not good. Now keep in mind though, Commander damage. You dump out 20 tokens and just start paying 1, you don't even have to tap it, you can just win the game. So like that's the one exception, but like good luck surviving that long. But man, if you could dump out by like turn 3 or 4 like 10 tokens, you could start hitting them pretty hard with like some, I don't know, throwaway 1-cost red thing, but then you'd have to go get this. That's the thing. Or you'd have to have a way to bring it out of your command zone, I should say, not like go get it out of your deck. I don't know, seems kind of glass cannony and stupid and gimmicky, which, like I said, I don't like them moving that direction. That's not good or fun for Commander. Next up, we got Jan Jansen, which sounds like he would try to sell me insurance. Or like a timeshare, or like an injury attorney. Anyway, Chaos Crafter, that's his full title, looks like black, white, red. Of course, whoever this idiot is, I actually have not seen the original footage for the record. They streamed this in the dark, apparently. I don't know if it was streamed or TikTok or what happened. I don't know. Whatever it is, they're getting arrested. So this is some sort of power and toughness, can't read it. But to me, this still shot looks like an etched foil. Also, legendary frame, obviously, with the little spiky top. So, okay. Legendary creature, Gnome Artificer with haste. Tap it, sacrifice an artifact creature. Not artifact or creature, an artifact creature. Create 2 treasure tokens. And then you can tap them and sacrifice a non-creature artifact. And create 2 1/1 colorless construct creature tokens. Ooh, that's a lot of death and ETB triggers. I think this actually is a highly playable card in the right deck. As the front card, as the commander. Next up, Eldritch Pact. It's a 7-cost black sorcery. Looks like some kind of extended art. Like this is like, not quite borderless, but it's bigger than extended. So that's interesting. Target player draws X cards and loses X life, where X is the number of cards in their graveyard. Okay, that is a spicy boy. You could just kill someone with this, or you could draw enough cards to just like hopefully end them. Now the problem is, you draw this many, okay, you could toss a few into the graveyard, and maybe that's what you're going for, but you certainly probably don't have much mana left. So you ain't casting any of them this turn, just saying. This is an interesting card. I kind of like, last-ditch effort, high-cost stuff like this. Next up, Robe of the Archmagi. Oh, this should be good. That is hyper powerful in D&D. 3 cost, blue. 2 generic, artifact equipment, rare, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw that many cards. Oh, hello. Equip 4, but equip Shaman, Warlock, or Wizard 1. I love that. This is so good. The cost, the coloring, the weirdly narrow specific theme for the discount, the appropriate equip cost for what it does, the power level being appropriate and interesting for a commander. I love everything about this. I hope they do the staff. What is that? Staff of the Magi or Arch Magi, or I don't remember. Could just be Staff of Power. I don't know. There's a couple out there, but the one that casts like all those really cool spells. I want to see that in this set. Next up, what's going on here? Ellen Harbury's Busybody. Literally just coming straight out of Facebook. This ain't even D&D. This is your Aunt Cheryl right here. But they gave her the alias Ellen for privacy reasons. So, legendary, obviously. We all know Ellen Harbury's is legendary, her and her muffins. Human Peasant, 2/4. Tap, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of tokens you created this turn. Tokens or muffins, pardon me, I read that wrong. Put one of those cards in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and then choose a background. Probably Baker. Well, I'm glad they finally put Leslie Hall on a card. That was very nice of them. I've got like 10 more jokes, but we gotta move on. Next up, we got a black 5-cost horror called Nothic. I've actually never heard of that, and I've heard of a lot in D&D, but might not be from the Planes or Realms or whatever that we normally play on. I think we do Forgotten Realms, not Eberron. I don't even remember. Honestly, it's Wizards of the Coast. Nothic is probably a gender at this point. Anyway, it's a 4/3 horror, weird insight. When Nothic dies, roll a d20. Yes, roll a d20 in memoriam to Nothic. 1 through 9, you draw a card and lose 1 life. Boy, if that's the low one. 10 through 19, you draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. And 20, you draw 7 cards and lose 7 life. I don't know, this just isn't a good card. I mean, it's a little overcosted for what it does, but whatever, you gotta have some filler. And this might be for draft, who knows. Next up, Passageway Seer. It's a 4-cost black 2/2 Tiefling Warlock with a lifelink, and when it enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. I had a copy of the initiative card, and I can't find it, so great. At the beginning of your end step, if you have initiative, put a 1/1 counter on Passageway Seer. Once again, it kind of works like Monarch. It gets like passed around, and yeah. So that's kind of neat. Next up, something Halaster? It's a 2-cost legendary enchantment background. And commander creatures you own have, the first time you would draw a card each turn, instead look at the top 2 cards of your library. Oh, I love this effect. Put one of them into your graveyard and the other on the top of your library, then draw a card. Now that is a power background right there. In the right deck, multiple right decks, this could do some damage. Next up, 5-cost black sorcery. Summon undead. You may mill 3 cards, then return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Alright, that's your standard mill and res card. Next up, Goggles of Night. It's a 2-cost blue, artifact equipment, and whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, scry 1, then draw a card. A lot of, like, rogues effects, but that kind of makes sense. Not sure what the equip cost is, but for this I'd assume it's probably either 2 or 3. Next up, Sea Hag. I assume they're censoring, like, chat or something, or I don't know. I know, terrifically useful. Next up, Fang Dragon. It's a 7-cost 6/3 creature dragon, and it's another adventure card. It has Forktail Sweep for 2, sorcery. It deals 1 damage to each creature you don't control, I believe is what this says, and then otherwise it's just a standard flying 6/3. Kind of low-powered for a dragon, but like I said, this is supposed to be moderately draftable somehow. So they stuck in, some okay cards, and it looks like this is a common, so, it is what it is. Dragon Tribal is one of the things. Next up, Swiftfoot Boots. That's a reprint, but it's a 2-drop artifact equipment. Equipped creature is hexproof and haste, and then equip 1. Very, very popular card. Very famous, been in the game for quite a while. Next up, Gale, Waterdeep Prodigy. Hey, finally somebody learned how to hold a card without their fat sausage fingers in the shot. So it's a 1/3 for 3 in blue, a legendary creature, human, wizard, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell from your hand, you better not be playing Is It. And also, you may cast up to one target card of the other type from your graveyard. If a spell cast from your graveyard this way would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead, choose a background. Little chaos magic there, that's kind of neat. I don't like casting spells direct from the graveyard, not a fan of that, but whatever. Next up, Arrow Co-Cross Sneak. Ooh, we have one of those in my party right now. So it's 4 cost blues, probably Bird Rogue, flying, and when Aarakocra Sneak enters the battlefield, you take the initiative. Okay, easy enough. Next up, Imoen, Mystic Trickster. 3 cost blue, 2/3 legendary creature, human, rogue, wizard. Oh, that multi-class doesn't work outside of 3.5. And it's pretty weak there anyway. You get crap DCs. Anyway, Ward 2, at the beginning of your end step, if you have the initiative, draw a card, draw another card if you've completed a dungeon. Ooh. That's decent. And then choose a background. Okay, now we're talking. Like, that's a card right there. Next up, Baba Lysaga. Definitely legally distinct from Baba Yaga. As if that story's still copyrighted. Night Witch. It's a 3 cost black-green legendary creature, human, warlock. 3/3, and you can tap it and sacrifice up to 3 permanents. If there were 3 or more card types among the sacrificed permanents, each opponent loses 3 life and you gain 3 life and you draw 3 cards. That's almost never going to be worth it. This card's awful. Well, it's still a free sack outlet, so if you just steal 3 of your opponent's creatures or something, but still. Next up, Mazzy, True Sword Paladin. You know, there's one person in my D&D group who always plays gnomes and halflings and anything else small. I think they have some sort of unhealthy obsession with it, but I just find it comical that like a 2.5 foot tall person is like, yeah, I'm going to kick your ass with a sword. No, you're not. You're probably about as strong as a 6-year-old. Anyway, it's 1 generic plus 1 red plus 1 green plus 1 white, 3 for legendary creature halfling knight, and whenever an enchanted creature attacks one of your opponents, it gets +2/+0 and gains trample until end of turn, and whenever an aura you control is put into your graveyard from the battlefield, exile it. Until the end of your next turn, you may cast that card. Okay, that is a really good card. Stacking up auras, that is a classic strategy, and when you get the auras back for a turn, like, that's huge. Or you gain the opportunity to bring them back permanently for 1 turn. Next up, Citadel Gate. It's a land gate. Yeah, who didn't see this coming? Citadel Gate enters the battlefield tapped. As Citadel Gate enters the battlefield, choose a color other than white, and then you can tap it for 1 white or a mana of the chosen color. So there's probably a lot of these. In fact, I think one of them was already a spoiler. I just forgot. Next up, I don't know what that says. Dynaheim? I don't know. They decided to cover it. And in fact, I'm sure that's Evoker, but with the smoke, it just looks like Woker. So of course I'm going with that. So it's Dinah the Woker Adept. And she's got the ability keyword, argue with people on Twitter. Just kidding, D&D doesn't have Twitter. She's using the sending spell. Anyway, red, white, and blue +1, 4/4 legendary creature, human wizard with haste, and you may activate abilities of other creatures you control as though those creatures had haste. And then you can tap her, and when you next activate an ability this turn by spending 4 or more mana to activate it, copy that ability, you may choose new targets for the copy. Okay, that could be horrifically powerful, because it's free. Next up, Jaira's Respite. It's a 5 cost green instant. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of creatures attacking you. Ooh. Put those cards onto the battlefield tapped, trigger landfall about 10 trillion times, then shuffle. Prevent all combat damage that we dealt this turn. Oh my gosh, it's a land-fetching landfall fog. Holy crap, this is good. I have always wanted to make a landfall commander deck, but honestly, I think it might be a little OP. Next up, Astral Confrontation. It's a 5 cost white instant. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each opponent you're attacking. Exile target creature. Ooh, that's pretty spicy. So you could use it defensively in case of an emergency, but otherwise you can get this down to 1 if you're absolutely just swinging at them and want one of their defenders gone. That's nice. Well, blockers, not literally creatures with defender, but also not a blocker, because you would do this before they declare blockers. Potential blocking creatures, there you go. Next up, you look upon the Tarrasque. Really, they brought back that stupid, oh, you come across this, oh, you meet in a tavern. They're bringing that back. I guess they designed this too close to know that was one of the most hated things in the other D&D set, but anyway. 5 cost green instant, choose 1, run and hide, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control this turn. Okay, so 5 cost fog, geez. Or gather your courage, target creature gets +5/+5 and gains indestructible till end of turn, probably still gets killed by the Tarrasque, and all creatures your opponents control able to block this or that creature this turn do so. So you're on the assault. Is your opponent supposed to be the Tarrasque? It kind of falls apart, but okay. Next up, Arcane Signet. I mean, I probably don't need to tell you what this does, but in case it's new to you. 2-drop, tap for a mana that's equal to your commander's color identity. So one of the most famous mana rocks in the history of Commander recently. Next up, Cloakwood Hermit. It's a 3-cost green legendary enchantment background, and commander creatures you own have at the beginning of your end step. If a creature card was put into your graveyard from anywhere this turn, create 2 tapped 1/1 green squirrel creature tokens. Oh yes, befriend the squirrels. Somebody's playing the long game. As we all know, squirrels can take down Emrakul. Next up, Sky Diamond. I think this is a reprint. I don't know, they did something with gems a while ago in Commander. It's a 2-cost artifact, and Sky Diamond enters battlefield tapped, and then you can tap it for blue. Next up, Dread Lenorm. Something like that. 7-cost green snake dragon. It has scale deflection, 4-cost instant. Put 2 1/1 counters on target creature and untap it. It gains hexproof till end of turn. And then otherwise, it's a 7/6 and can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or less. So your standard big, mean green creature. Next up, Mocking Doppelganger. Who do you think you're mocking by turning into me when I look that good? I'm just saying. So it's a 4-cost 0/0 creature shapeshifter with flash, and you may have Mocking Doppelganger enter the battlefield as a copy of creature and opponent controls, except it has other creatures with the same name as this creature are goated. Oh, I get it. That would be the mocking part. That's kind of funny. I mean, honestly, outside of just this card, there's that one blue copy card in Standard right now where you can bring it back later from your graveyard and just endlessly clone something. That's like infinitely better of a card. So really, the power level looks kind of weak in this set. I don't know. I mean, we haven't seen like tons of power mythics and stuff, but this really just looks like it's fuel for like a cube or D&D only themed commander sets. I could see people doing it, but I don't think that's very wide. But last time they did, every legend set they've ever created, so all of the last times, whatever format they were targeting, they completely and utterly broke it. I mean, remember Hogak, remember everything else. I don't need to go through the examples, but yeah, these are very, very dangerous sets. I'm kind of glad they went lower powered, but also, who are they going to sell it to if none of the cards are playable? Just saying. But for anyone just looking to play a middle power, understandable, fun, lower heavy, like D&D version of Magic, absolutely. Once again, I don't think that's that many people though. So the last one is OG, the Exquisite Blade. So it's a 4-cost white-blue legendary creature, human monk 2/3, and when OG the Exquisite Blade enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life and scry 2, and then whenever you cast your second spell each turn, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return to the battlefield under its owner's control. Yeah, blue-white flicker, like cancer personified, just like the monk class. Leave your offended comments down in the comment section below. Anyway, that's it for what we know right now. I'm sure this douchebag probably is in control of some more cards and is rushing to get them out on the internet as quickly as possible before they get arrested. So good luck with that, you absolute douchebag. I hope you live somewhere where they don't extradite. Just kidding, I lied. I hope you do. Hell, they're probably from America. I know absolutely nothing about this person. Did not see the footage. So that's what we got so far. There is a dungeon card posted on my community tab if you want to go check that out. Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll keep you posted on any future developments with this craziness, and I'll see you guys next time.